Greetings, everyone, and you have been pulled into the Black Dimension. This is our episodic ranking of the MCU films that are in the Infinity 23 saga. Yes, 23 representing 23 films, and we are giving our take on how these films rank. With me is Donnie. What's going on?
Man, just living my best life, trying to enjoy lovely Wednesday. Thursday. Loki came out, so we got to watch that. But yeah, good day.
Yeah, yeah, great, awesome day. But it wasn't an awesome day for for someone out there in particular. Uh, Robert Downey Jr. As you know,
Oh,
yeah, the guy who basically supercharged the Marvel Cinematic Universe. His father passed away today. I mean, well, July 7th. So let me show you now. So our condolences to the Downey family, and I thought that this could, is needed to have a mention after, because we are, kind of, reviewing and ranking his son's trilogy of films for this Infinity 23. So, this headline says it's exclusive Robert Downey Sr., accomplished filmmaker and actor, and dad of Robert Downey Jr., dead at 85. And there you can see a picture of him. Like, rest in peace, Robert Downey Sr. Our condolences to the Downey family and Robert Downey Jr. So, um, yeah, that's pretty much it. Just thought that was some news that was worth sharing. Um, okay, so to this episode, we're here to rank Iron Man 3. Iron Man 3 in the timeline takes place right after the Avengers. And there's a couple facts that I wanted to lay out about this film. First of all, the the villain was originally supposed to be a woman, but it ended up being Guy Pearce's character, Aldrich Killian. The second one is that this was actually supposed to be Robert Downey Jr.'s last MCU film. He was leaving after Iron Man 3. But we all know what happened. They threw more of that money up, and he came back to do what he did, to finish it out. And really, it the I would say that the whole MCU Infinity 23 will probably be the Tony Stark arc. If you really think about it, the whole MCU started
yeah.
from the first Iron Man. The whole MCU started from the first Iron Man, and it ended with the Infinity 23. I mean, the Infinity 23 ends with Spider-Man, Far From Home, but Tony Stark, like I said, the snap in Endgame, Avengers Endgame, uh, you know, it was just a very significant moment. It was the culmination of everything that Tony Stark was building up to. But we're here to talk about the third installment, which, like I said, was supposed to be his last appearance in the MCU, Iron Man 3. It takes place after the Avengers. Tony Stark is suffering from PTSD from going through that wormhole to destroy the Shatari army. Um, and he's also working on a suit that he can call, well, I guess with his brain power, with his mind. So, Roger, what's going on, man?
How you doing, brother? How you doing? Yeah, and my condolences goes out to the Downey family as a whole. My condolences to them.
Okay, all right. So, Iron Man 3. Okay, was it a good follow up to the Avengers? Would you call it a good follow up to the Avengers, or um, some of the issues that I'm about to talk about?
I think it was exciting. It was an exciting follow up because especially when they did the trailers, right? If you remember the trailers, they alluded to the Mandarin and you heard his voice. And the voice, let me say this, if nothing else about this movie, the Mandarin's voice and the way he was portrayed was A1, right? Up until but that was A1. The story started out great and then it kind of puttered at the end for me. But go ahead, you guys.
I
Okay.
thought it was a good follow up myself. I like the one thing I like kind of the most. Well, I guess between two things, I like the fact that Tony actually had the PS the what PSCD. What is it? PS. What I'm
Uh,
losing what the thing is, man.
PTSD.
But post
PTSD.
traumatic stress. Right. He had the PTSD. To me, that was actually a really good touch to go across the film because you know I mean, it's movies, but if it's realistic, you go through a wormhole in space, you almost die. You're fighting aliens. Yeah, that let him put a regular person through something. So I did like the fact he went through the PTSD, and I also like the fact that he did have to bond with this kid that he depended on to keep his secret while trying to get himself somewhat back together, and he had to do it on his own. He could not rely on his suit which goes in that touch of he's a hero beyond the suit. So I thought it was a good touch up because so far, technically, he had been a hero because of the suit, but not really without the suit.
And really, kind of interesting you mentioned that because that was the theme of the first Spider-Man film. If you and that was Tony was trying to teach Peter. Spoiler warning for those of us out there. If you can't be a hero without the suit, you don't deserve the suit. And this was Tony Stark's attrition, so to speak. Although I felt like there were some things that were kind of letdowns about this film. First of all, Trevor Slattery, aka the Mandarin. I can't tell you how much they let that shit let me down because I wanted to see an actual Mandarin. Oh, I mean, but they did them the way they did them, and there's I guess there's not much we can do now. But the real Mandarin is supposed to be coming to the screen this September. So for those of us who are fans of the character and never seen him in going against his one of his main rivals, Iron Man, check out Shang-Chi this September. But yeah, Tony Stark, like one of my issues is Tony Stark had to make one of the dumbest hero moves that I ever seen in any film. Give the villain his home address on national television, and they played his card pretty good. The thing is about that suit protocol that he did at the end of the movie. Why couldn't he activate that suit protocol when when his mansion was getting attacked with missiles?
But boom.
Well, suits get upgrades over time.
You can't make
uh,
everything super easy.
Yeah, it's got to be tough. Also, I have a question. This is the what you see on the screen. This is the Iron Patriot. This is a recolor of the War Machine for Iron Man 3. Iron Patriot in the comic book. Actually, spoiler warning, was Norman Osborn. Uh, Go ahead. Huh?
Yeah, I don't think we're seeing the same thing. We're not seeing the same
Yeah,
thing. I'm seeing
yeah,
something with Extremis explode.
yeah. But this is like him being what I was saying. Him being Iron Patriot was kind of a Marvel comic Easter egg, so to speak. Like, I really like. I kind of wish they would have pulled the trigger on this if they would have actually did a Dark Avengers. But the way the MCU is going, it's so much more story to tell. Besides that, uh,
Well,
yeah. But I thought it was.
they didn't have access to Osborn. Remember?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, but no. What I was saying was, wait till you get access before you drop a character like Iron Patriot. But like the point is, well, they didn't know what was going to happen at the time this movie was made, so I get it.
so for those who don't realize it, they're referring to the fact that Marvel Studios did not have the rights to use Norman Osborn when they made this film.
Right. Yeah,
and
he was still off limits. Which is why they
yeah,
called the twins. What did they call them? They called them Wanda and Pietro Maximoff. They didn't call them mutants. They called them something else, right?
They called him
enhanced or
enhanced.
something.
Enhanced.
Enhanced
But
humans.
but
Yeah.
but you know, but when you said that that whole thing about dropping that address. Now I'm thinking this from a realistic standpoint. I thought that was cool the way he dropped the address. Now, truth be told, this Tony Stark, you can find his address anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is one of the richest men on the planet. He's a billionaire. He's gonna be in the Forbes list, all that type of stuff. He's a hero now. You was gonna be able to find his address anyway. So the fact that he just threw it on out there, yeah, I thought that was kind of ballsy, but it's not like he couldn't figure out what it was. So I thought it was a good touch that he threw it out there versus a villain just coming to his home and attacking him because you could totally justify that. No way to hide his address. Not Tony
It,
Stark.
it was the braggadociousness of Tony Stark that put that out there. He's the invincible Iron Man, right? So he put that out there because he felt like, what are you going to do to me? Now, I will say this. I don't feel like that should have been enough to take out Iron Man in his house the way it did.
Yeah, it's like even if he didn't use the suit protocol that he used at the end, Tony Stark's house should have been more defense defended than that. Like yeah, he had detectors, but in the movie he wasn't paying attention until like the missile was all up almost up on the house. But still, with the brain that Tony Stark has, he should have been prepared for something like that. But um, one thing that I would keep in mind, or try to keep in mind, is the fact that he was going through a lot. Like as far as like how they depicted the PTSD after the battle for New York. So I would probably chalk that up for him to be for that to be part of his problem because he had that PTSD. Given like I said, it was a stupid move, but giving his address away might have been going right along with that PTSD.
Well, he was trying to
Also,
prove himself at that point. He had something to prove at that point. So I totally get it. And his whole thing was trying to regain control where he felt like he was losing control. Because keep in mind, Tony is a control freak at the end of the day. That what I'm saying. That's why he made all the different suits that he made. He kept adjusting from previous situations. Something happened, so he make an adjustment so the next suit will be better. Tony has been a control freak the whole time. So I think the fact that he faced something in the Battle of New York, it made sense in this movie because he's now a hero trying to regain control. That's how I took it.
very, very interesting, and that does make sense. Trying to, like you said, regain that control in his life. Yeah, to the point where at the end of the film, they got rid of the arc reactor in his chest. Like they were, like I said, they were really serious about like just like I guess doing away with Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark, or they weren't. Were they? Help refresh my memory. Were they supposed to get rid of Iron Man altogether?
I think
Um,
that was kind of like contract negotiations. That really kind of put that in there. They didn't know if he was coming back or not.
I think they were trying to set him up for a possible replacement, but the issue with it was they knew all along they could just offer him enough money, so they kind of played it. I think Marvel had this story set out years in advance that they storyboarded and everything else. So it was just an issue of paying him the right amount of money. They knew Robert Downey Jr. wasn't going to go anywhere if they paid him enough.
Oh
You know
yeah,
what?
and
I don't
also
think it was that though. No, I was just gonna say I don't think
no,
it was just totally that because keep in mind, early in the MCU, stuff wasn't as planned out as it is right now. But go ahead,
Well,
kid.
yeah, early, but we're at three, right? So three was after Avengers. At that point, they knew they had a box office success. To me, it just seems like they knew what was going on. They was going to get it popping.
All right, but let me backtrack some a little bit. As far on top of the PTSD, the Mandarin would supposedly threaten terrorism throughout the streets. So Happy just happened upon this you know this little area where the I just watched this film too, where he run into this guy and I guess like the dude took a drug which we would come to know as extremists, and the drug affected him adverse, like really badly, and he just blew up and almost killed Happy and wiped out like a lot of the people in the street. That's just plot armor for Happy, but one of the main motivating factors for Iron Man to get revenge and to put his address out there like that is because he was angry about his friend Happy. So, you know,
And I thought it was a good touch because he said this is not really about him being a hero. This is just about revenge. I actually like that part because because from a human side, I mean, if I'm Tony Stark and I got all that kind of tech, and you basically you got it, my boy. You know what I'm saying? You got my man's down. I'm coming after you. Ain't no way in the world I got that much power to get at you, and you not about to see me. So I actually liked it, that whole part. I thought it was great, great. You know what I'm saying? Just a great plot line. Period. Let's put the hero stuff to the side for now, and let me just find this nigga.
yeah. And as far as extremists, that's another issue I had. But I don't know. I guess I have a little taste for the slightly darker. Another comic book spoiler. When I first seen extremists in the comic book, the extremist formula was given to this psychopath named Malin, and he was just going around using it to kill folks, and he almost killed Iron Man. But in the comic book, he he combined nanotechnology with the extremist, and to not only heal him from his injuries, but to make an entirely new suit. But they went this route with extremists. So, I mean, it is what it is. They made Aldrich Killian the actual, I would say, the threat that was the Mandarin was supposed to be, by using like an extremist was way more powerful. Like not only could they shoot fire at their mouths, they could shoot lightning out their mouths. They had super strength, like well, they had super strength, but they also had super speed, and it was nuts the way they did it in the comic. But some things just don't translate to movies that well. So I mean, it was Iron Man 3 was a pretty good story. I would say it probably, in my opinion, doesn't match up to the other two because of and this was a widespread complaint, the letdown, the fake out of the Mandarin. So yeah,
Well,
let's
again, I enjoyed the Mandarin. I enjoyed all the way up until you caught him. But the way he came out, you got to admit, when he came out in those video clips, he was, there will be blood. Come on, man, that was good. It was great.
you'll
It,
never see me coming. Yeah, that guy
yeah,
right
that,
there. Look at
yeah,
that, Trevor Slattery. Trevor, yeah, that guy's named Trevor in this film. I
that
mean, like
maybe.
he looked comic book faithful in this. Well, not really. Like the Mandarin was Asian in the comic book, but the look until you find out he was a
Well,
phony.
Well, he
he
plays
did come
Asian people.
across. Well, I'm saying he did come across menacing though. So I am with Donnie. Until we knew who he was, he sounded like he about to be some real trouble.
Nigga, Roger, the Borg has got Roger. You know,
No, but that actor has traditionally played. I don't know why he's because he is a white man. He's traditionally played Indian people. Dot not feather. He's played Indian people. He's played Asian people. He's one of those guys they just put in these random roles. So they probably did that with a bit of an intention there. But yeah, he did. He just to me, had he been the actual Mandarin, I would have been happy.
yeah. I was prepared to not have a problem with it. I really was watching this film. Oh shit, the Mandarin. But it turned out how it turned out. But anyway, let's talk about how this film ranks. How this, I mean, this is a third in a trilogy. So, um, did it quite, was it consistent with the other two films? Do you believe it? These this was consistent with the other two films, because I'm not so much of a fan of removing the one part that makes him like Iron Man. You know, having him having difficulties with the suit. You know, I mean, it's you have to have those stories sometimes, but I don't know. I just much rather see the cool stuff. But if you look at it as a film, an adventure film, an Iron Man film, your Marvel Cinematic Universe film, I still think you'll be satisfied with it. But there
Um,
are just but there are just some films I feel that are ahead of them. That's in the MCU Infinity 23.
so for me, this movie was the franchise in general, and again, arguably this phase of the Marvel films was about Tony Stark and his growth as a superhero, right? First one, he couldn't, he escaped, he made his life change, and he became Iron Man, right? The second one, he was this braggadocious hero that was just so over the top, and he kind of got humbled a little bit, right? And then this one, this put him in a position of no suit, no catchy gadgets, and he had to learn to become a hero. And he passed this on to Spider-Man. And as he passed it on to Spider-Man, I think Spider-Man is going to be the leader of the next MCU phase. So I think, uh, this was a good progression. Story wise, I just don't think it was the greatest because it fell apart midway through for me. But I mean, I enjoyed it.
All right, all right, all right, all right. So let me take care of this real quick and show everyone our result. Okay, Roger. Well, any final comments about the Iron Man 3, how it stacked up to the trilogy itself? Consistency. What do you think?
I thought it was great. I thought it was the consistency was good. I thought the introduced was very good. I actually thought it was a very good film, honestly. Um, I really like the film. I'm gonna just keep it real. You know, I like a touch of realism with my superheroes. So I thought the way they carried this film out was pretty good, and it opened a lot of doors for a lot of new stuff to come into play. You know, now keep in mind at the time we saw this, there was a lot left that was unknown. So I like the way a lot of new doors got open. So it was good. It was great to me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and not knowing the future of Tony Stark at that point, but it is kind of like, okay, let's see how he was gonna go out. I was okay with the film. I was okay with the film. I explained what my issues were, and I don't dislike it. In fact, when I rewatched it, I kind of liked it a little more, actually. So, but we discussed this ranking before we went on the air, and as you saw, number five was the Incredible Hulk. Number four, Captain America: The First Avenger. Number three was Iron Man. Number two was Iron Man 2, and number one is the Avengers. The current six is Thor, the first Thor, and the current number seven is Captain Marvel. So does Iron Man 3 at least crack the top five? Let's find out. Okay, as you see scrolling across the bottom of the screen, um, we had this discussion before we went on the air, and we all decided, although with very like with great difficulty. No, not so much. I'm just messing around, but he decided that Iron Man 3 knocks the Incredible Hulk out of the top five, but it's number five. We didn't feel that it was better than the first Captain America, the first Iron Man, the second Iron Man, and the Avengers. So, yeah, Iron Man 3 we thought was great, but there are still better MCU films. And this is what I like about this particular show is like we don't know if the number one's going to stay number one, for too long. But I don't know with this next film that we have to review might be I don't know. Spots might be pretty safe with this one. But we're going like that's on our next episode. The next one is, if I'm not mistaken, Thor: The Dark World.
Yep, and I can't wait to argue about that.
Okay, yeah,
You gonna
because
argue about how it should be at the bottom?
It will be no. Trust me, it will be an argument. I can't wait. I mean, we're gonna rewatch it again. It's gonna be some arguing going on. Trust me, it's gonna
yes,
be
Thor
some furniture move.
the first move. Hey, but yeah. Oh shit. Let's see. But they say MCU in chronological order. Let's see. Let's make sure. I want to make sure that that's going to be the next film.
Yeah, I'm pretty
Let's
sure
see.
it is. But yeah, let's make sure.
Yeah. I mean, Thor: The Dark World is the next film. After and Thor after Thor: The Dark World, I'm really looking forward to the next episode after that. that
I'm just
that
curious what we gonna.
I'm
I'm
sorry.
just curious what we're gonna do with the Black Widow. Where we gonna
I
stick that
mean,
one at?
well, Black Widow is not in the Infinity 23. It
Yeah,
is
but,
not.
but, but we'll eventually rank it though. We'll eventually rank.
I mean, well, but as far as timeline continuity purposes, yeah, we might need to go ahead and rank it because this was a past story about Black Widow. I think it took place in between Civil War and Infinity War. I think that's where Black. I think that's where it sticks in the timeline. So if you know what, we might be able to insert it. You know what I'm saying?
I'm
But
actually going to suggest that we hold off on that until we get the rest of them done. And, I'm gonna suggest we hold off, but we'll talk about that off here.
oh yeah, yeah. But Thor: The Dark World is definitely the next one. After that, it'll be Captain America: The Winter Soldier, and after that, it will be both Guardians films. So we're looking forward to doing this. So, any last words, fellas?
Keep getting sucked into the Black Dimension, people.
Oh yeah, this is the Habitual Line Steppers entertainment channel, bringing you content focused on entertainment and sports, and just flat out cool stuff. Pop culture, video games, wrestling, stuff like that. Anything that's cool that we like. If you want to come for something different, come to your new favorite entertainment channel, the Black Dimension. So, what about you, Raj?
Well, I think y'all saying it right. They need to come in because, hey, this is where I'm gonna hang out, and we're gonna talk about all the stuff that entertains us. So it's always gonna be a good conversation. It's always gonna be a great time. Make sure you're a part of it.
Okay, so on behalf of Donnie and Roger, this is Kev. Thank you for tuning in to our MCU Infinity 23. Next episode, Thor: The Dark World. You've been pulled into the Black Dimension. Good luck finding your way out.